I started my hiking trip in the town of Kostrzyn, which is something like an hour and a half from Berlin or so. What's really worth seeing is the fortress, which was built in the 16th century on something that is almost an island near the confluence of the rivers Warta and Odra. And as you can see, the area is huge. Parts of it are in ruins, others have been well preserved or rebuilt. And it's actually more of a town in itself than a fortress. So it's a really great destination for an afternoon walk or so. You find the link to their website in the video description. Here's another building I was really looking forward to. What we see here is a pumping station built in 1911. I really like those vertical structures around the windows, which will almost make them look like windows on a cathedral or so. So the facade is really elegant, almost church-like, and the pump in this building is still in use. Today it's running on electricity, but until 1960 it ran on coal. So when the water behind the flood banks was very high and the water had to be pumped into rivers and canals, the pump needed something up to 12 tons of coal a day, which sounds really impressive. So also here from a distance you can see the beautiful proportions. It's a great destination for a walk from Kostrzyn. Well, guess what? My sandwiches are so awful. Even the swans don't care. Well, I do. It was a bit of a walk from the pumping station to a village called Dabroszyn, but it was definitely worth the effort. You find a beautiful palace at its center, built in the 17th century and showing all the elegance you would expect from a representative Baroque building. There is also a church built in a neo-Gothic style. I was lucky enough to find the door open, and the lady cleaning the benches was kind enough to let me take a look around. I find the paintings at the ceiling very impressive. On the left you see the beautiful gravesites of members of the von Schöning family, designed with a wealth of detail and allegedly masterpieces of what is called Brandenburg Baroque. Next to that altar, near the gravesites, you see a portrait of the late Pope John Paul II, who was of Polish origin. On my way out, I noticed that the gate towards the park behind the palace was open, so I took a look at the back of the building and peeked through the windows. Unfortunately, it wasn't accessible at that time, but if you'd like to have a guided tour, you can try and get an appointment via the contact data on the Kostrzyn website. I put that link too into my video description. Train station is right ahead of me. I don't think there will be a cafe or so, but there might be a train, which is enough. Oops. Okay, if I should ever open a cafe or a restaurant in a train station in Poland, I would definitely call it Evita. Time to call it a day, but before that, I show you my room. Ta-ta! Here's my bathroom. Second day of my trip, something like 8:20 in Kostrzyn, and I need a coffee. So here's an Intermarché. Let's see what they got. So good. Here I am in Ujście, Warty National Park, home to some 280 species of birds or so. I came here about an hour ago and I already saw some geese, some birds of prey, some ducks, some storks. So even if you come here not for a proper hike, just for a walk, you will probably see many wild birds.
My name is Maciej Mazurczak. I'm a manager of this visitor center. This building is a visitor center, so we have an exhibition here about nature, about our park, and also is a tourist information point. There are information, as I said, also in English and in German, of course in Polish, so you can do it with any guide. Yes. This room we call river. We go down to the river, and you can find many information about plants, about animals, especially about fish that live in our water. So the species of these fishes are from our water, yes?
Can you tell me something about this picture? Because that's where I went the day before yesterday, and I think it's a really impressive building.
It's a pump station, and it works today. Also,
It's still active.
yes, it's still
Okay.
yes, it still works.
Uh-huh.
It's very important to manage the level of the water here in our park, because the pumps moving the water from the meadows inside to this big lake we have here in the area, at the area of our park. Yes.
It is only a short walk from the visitor center to a reminder of one of the darkest chapters of European history, the memorial of the Sonnenburg concentration camp, also a reminder of the fact that this area of Poland was German before the Second World War. There is a museum at the site which explains the history of the concentration camp and which also sheds a light on the terrible living conditions of the victims that were murdered here. One well-known victim was the German journalist Karl von Ossietzky, who received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1935 for his work on the secret German rearmament, which was a violation of the Treaty of Versailles. The memorial is not a very easy place to visit, but I find it highly recommendable. So here's the castle of Słońsk. It must have been an icon of Baroque architecture in its time, burned out in 1975. Wow. It's huge. Those fireplaces are huge. This must have been a very impressive place. Some few elements of decoration that survived the fire, giving us a small hint of how beautiful this place must have been. Wow. Also there, traces of old paintings. And also this beautiful floor. Before I leave this amazing place. I didn't make it to the Postomia yesterday because several accesses were closed due to the nesting and breeding season of the birds. Good place for a picnic. So the bridge is closed, and that means my hiking trip in Ujście Warty National Park is coming to an end. I hope you liked it, and if you did, it would be great if you could leave a like or a follow. Catch you in the next one. Bye bye.